Hi everybody. Okay, I know it's been like a while that I have been making this video. I think it's been 4 months, actually 5, we'll say. The situation is that I don't know if you guys like these videos because nobody has asked about them, nothing. So I'm gonna get on with it. I finally finished. It took me forever. I was hardcore reading the past couple of days. I finally finished my book, and the library somehow had me let me keep it until now, since October. So let's get into this book so I can tell you guys about it. I'm gonna try to remember what I've read in the past, but I know the ending really good. But it's called Snipped in the Bud. And this is it right here. So let me read the back. When Abby Knight... Sorry, my brain's like somewhere else. When Abby Knight swept through law school for her budding flower business, she vowed she wouldn't be caught dead visiting the hateful campus ever again. Then someone ordered a black rose for Abby's old law school namest professor, Snapdragon Puffer. Abby flees when he sends the bloom straight into the trash and runs smack into Carson Reed, the professor who recently had her arrested at an interventional protest, even though she knows bad luck comes in threes. She heads back only to find the rose is now decorating a dead professor and she's the prime suspect. Okay, I'm going to give you a brief thing. You guys should really read these books. I'm going to give you a brief thing about Kate Collins. She is an author that writes, I guess from what it says, she's a school teacher. Was a school teacher. Now she lives with her husband in Indiana. This story, this series, is out of Indiana. So let me get to the page about her. They have a brief paragraph about her. Okay. About the author. Kate Collins is a former teacher, lives with her husband in Northwest Indiana. During the mid-months, she hightails it down to Key West for as much as the winter as possible. She also the author of several romance novels under various I don't know that word. Pestinus visits her okay, it says visit her website at www.katecollinsbooks.com. So it gives just a little brief thing about her, but she writes also, I guess she writes also kids books, but she writes the flower shop mystery books. So in this book, Abby Knight, she's a florist. She works at Bloomers with Laddie and Grace. And she's still in love with that guy, Marco, that's from down the street that runs that Hatch, what's it called? High Hatch Bar and Grill. Hatch Bar and Grill. I forgot the name of it. It's a bar and grill that he runs. And he owns it. So, you guys know a brief on that. And there is romance in this book. Maybe after the series, maybe I'll go to her romance novels too if they got them in large print. So the thing is that Abby gets a phone call, an order for this rose, and it's a black rose they want. Well, she could not get. There's no such thing as a black rose. She has to do some coloring with it to make it seem black. So she goes to the law school that she used to go to when she was going for law. Well, then she gets in there, and her professor is a mean professor. Professor Reed was the guy that the flower was called for. So she brings it in, and the professor is like, what are you doing here? You know, I don't want you in my office. Get out of the school. And she said that there is somebody called you to send you a rose, the black rose. Well, she had the receipt and everything. Puffer wasn't having it. He took the rose, threw it in the trash. She leaves. She calls Marco to tell Marco what happened. Marco tells her, you know, just leave the campus, whatever. She's like, she sat there in her car and she's like, no, I'm going back in. I'm getting my rose. I cannot sit there and let a beautiful rose be in the trash. Now, that would be something like I would do. I'm like, I can't sit there and let that rose sit in that garbage. I love roses. Roses are my favorite flowers. I love them. Stickers, anything, roses. So, she goes back in, finds Reed dead. And he had a pencil stuck in his throat. And then the investigation went on. And then, you know, Abby was going through looking for the suspects, you know, interviewing a bunch of suspects with Marco. And then she finds out that there has been a bunch of animal kidnapping in the town. So she's following this minivan around, this gray minivan around, and she's in so much disguises also because of the fact that, you know, she was there on the scene of when she found Professor Reed dead. So she, you know, was in disguises. And she couldn't work at Bloomers because there was like a bunch of people out in front of Bloomers. So, if you hear that sound, that's my dog chewing on his Kong. Sorry about that. So another thing is that she sat there and she went to follow these guys. She saw the van. She was following these guys, saw these guys grabbing these people's pets for testing. They've done testing. They do testing on animals like makeup, hair dye, and stuff like that. And she was explaining it really clear in here where I started kind of tearing up. So, anyways, she has so many different disguises. And of course there was romance in the thing, and I was kind of like down a little bit, and different story. But anyways, so she finally went into into Marco's bar to let Marco know about what's going on with the pet snatching. So him and her decided to go and look for these guys and everything else. Then after that, they left that alone a little bit. So she finally talked to, there was a reporter that was hounding her in this whole book, was hounding her. So then after that, she finally talked to him because she needed a picture that her mom, I guess her mom saved a bunch of clippings from newspapers. There was a certain one that her mom gave her. It was a picture of Professor Reed, and there was a picture of Kenny. I didn't tell you about Kenny. Kenny was the guy that I guess was Professor Reed's teacher's pet, we'll call it. He would do everything. He was the one that was stealing all these animals, these owners' pets. So what happened is that they were trying to figure out who was doing these pet snatchings, and he was the person that was doing it. So then after that, they left that alone just for a little bit. So Abby was doing was going through a whole bunch of ordeals. Now, if you guys do remember that Julianne, her cousin, in the story, Julianne, supposedly how she puts it in the last story, that her husband left her. That's what she said on their honeymoon. I got to bring you up to that part. I'm sorry if I'm going all over in this story, but I mean it makes you guys a little confusing and a little bit interesting to read the book. But anyways, at that time, Abby found out that Julianne, Claymore didn't leave Julianne. Julianne left Claymore in the middle of the night on their honeymoon. So, Julianne, in the beginning of the story, Julianne did move in after it happened. She left him. Moved in with her and her roommate, Nikki. Well, things were not going good. So, Abby had to kick out Julianne. Julianne found her own apartment in Abby's apartment building. So, Claymore called up on Abby, called her on the phone and said, hey, have you seen my wife? I miss her. You know, I want to talk to her and everything. She goes, I can't really talk to you about her. She gets a little in depth with it. Finally, he opens up. She opens up. And then she goes, you know what? Can you come at my apartment around, I think it was like 8 o'clock, 7:30 or something, tomorrow, right? So anyways, after she got the phone with him, she left to go talk to one of the suspects that she was in talk to. She goes into the school, and I'll get to the part where, with Claymore. She goes to the school, and she sees this one girl named B. It was the secretary of Professor Reed. I guess Professor Reed, what he would do is write out, like, notes to the students saying, it said in one, let me see if I can find it really quick. And I can read, like, one of the letters to you so you guys can understand what I mean, because I honestly don't know the word. Let's see. But I'm going to explain as I tell you. There's a letter that he used to write out, handwritten, and the thing was that he would... Sorry about that. Now, let me try to go back finding. Well, as I was saying, Abby went in to talk to one of the suspects, and the suspect was B. And the suspect was Professor Reed's secretary. She was going to be there to file and mail the letters that he writes personally. So he writes out these letters, and instead of typing them on a computer like a normal person would, he would sit there and type them out for the students that has failed or got the failed or got the the job that he wants them to do. Like, here's one here. Okay, you know what, we'll read Kenny's, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you, Professor Reed, supposedly Kenny said Professor Reed said to him that he did get the job. Okay, well, here's what he says. Dear Mr. Lipkinsey, my regrets to inform you that you were not selected for the clerkship available in the 7th Secured Court of Appeal. Please know that this decision was not easy, as all candidates were highly qualified. Good luck in your future endeavors. Carson Reed. So I know I couldn't say some of the words. If I don't know the words, I'll try sounding them out, and I just go on with the thing. But anyways, that's one of the letters. There's another one here I could read to you. Let's see, right here. This one is, Dear Miss Albertson, I regret to inform you that you were not selected for the clerkship availability in the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. Please know that this decision was not easy, as all candidates were highly qualified. Good luck in your future endeavors. Carson Reed. Now hold on, I gotta let my dog in. So, as you know, that's the letters that he wrote out, and they both seem the same. Now, there was not a letter in here stating that what he would said to a person that has got the clerkship. So, in other words, now that's what she was reading. Okay, she went in. I confused myself there. She went in and she talked to B. That's Carson Reed's secretary. So she goes in and asks her a few questions, and then she sees these letters, like piles of letters and envelopes on her desk, and she was like, I could help you out, filing them. Do you mind I do that? She goes, that would help me out a lot. She goes ahead and she does it. She sits down, she starts reading it and stuff like that. Folds up the first one I read to you, the second one I read to you, the Miss Albertson one. That one she folds up, reads it, and puts it in a thing. Then she came across Kenny's, and then she gets up, she goes into Reed's old office, because Kenny was in there like packing up all his stuff in the boxes. So goes in there, and she's like, "Did Professor Reed make sure he told you that you did get the clerkmanship?" He goes, "Yes." She goes, "Okay." Goes back and does her work. Then I guess there was another professor that was in the office. He was there. But anyways, she sat there. She called Marco up and told him what was going on. And then all of a sudden, Claymore, after all this stuff was done, she went over back home with Marco. And they had dinner and everything. Claymore knocked on the door. I got to get the next book for this. Claymore came to the door, and she opened it up. Not a word said. She grabbed Claymore's hand, walked up to Julianne's door, knocked on her door, and says, "Julianne, your client is here." So she goes, "Okay." So she opens up the door. I guess the girl walked away to go to the clothes because she was doing at home. Her job was an at home fashion. Like people would call her, come to her apartment, and look at all the clothes that she has made or put together, whatever. And the disguise is also Abby's disguise, as Julianne was helping Abby with all the disguises. So anyways, he walked in there, she shut the door behind him, and Marco and Abby went back to their place. That was it. So, we don't know what's going to happen with Claymore and Julianne. I'm curious about that. I still am curious about Abby and Marco. I'm thinking they might get married in the next book. I am not sure. But I'm kind of excited to get the next book. But I have to get my list, and I'll let you know the next book. They say Snippet in the Bud. Oh, sorry. We can honestly say Snippet in the Bud is done. Okay, this pencil does not really write. I had a pen here. What happened to it? Okay, I got a world of pens in here. And pencils. Harley, stop! Dog is going nuts. Okay. The next one is Acts of Violets. That's the next one. Acts of Violets. So let me, you know what? Let me look that up. Give me a second. Acts of Violets. That book over there. Okay, this one's about Abby has been dating Marco, or ex-cop, bartender, and all-around hunk for several months when the Pickle Fest starts, but he's still a mystery to her. And after he disappears for a day, she's stunned to read in the paper, ex-cop question in man's death. Oh no, wait a minute. Oh no. It seems the authorities have found Snuggles the clown pushing up water, sparting daisies, and Marco was the last person seen leaving Snuggles' house. Abby knows in her bones that he's innocent, but why when his life is on the line is Marco being so sensitive with her? And who is the attractive woman he escorted to the Pickle Fest to do the legwork? She'll have to dissolve into the eerie down underworld where the smiles are take and everyone has a trick up his sleeve. Okay, I read that didn't make no sense to me. I got confused. Now you guys, I think you guys might be confused too. But anyways, acts of violence. Now they're now they're talking about that Marco and her been dating for 5 months. So I want to get this book, man. So Acts of Violence is the next series. Let me know if you guys do like these videos. If you guys don't, I will stop because I'll just read the story and just keep on with it. So let me know. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys later. This was Nipped in the Bud by Kate Collins. They got the large print version for those of you who that can't see like me. And they have the regular size version. It was probably thinner than this. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time. Bye!